Hey everyone, just jumping in before the show gets started to let you know that there will be spoilers for Doctor Who, just in case you're not caught up on that story. Otherwise, enjoy the show. Hello, sunshines. I'm Universally Geeky, and this is Deep in Plot, a podcast for geeks, by geeks, and about geeks. On this show, we break down archetypes and tropes, the characters or situations that fit that brand, and just for fun, we rate them. All of these ratings and rankings are based on our own personal opinions and experiences, but of course, you are welcome to add your own in the comments. Let's welcome our guests, because of course, I'm not doing this by myself, and I wouldn't want to. Thank you, Paige and Shelby, for joining me again, and welcome to Remy. Yay! I'm so excited to have you guys. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be good. So today we will be discussing two tropes: the lovable rogue and the time traveling, our first situational trope. The lovable rogue is classified as charming enough for the audience to root for them. Usually they steal, sometimes for fun, sometimes to get by in an uncaring world, and sometimes because the people they stole from are terrible. The time travel trope involves just that, time travel. We see the hero move from town to town, time to time, and thrust into different adventures. In the past, events are set and are not allowed to be changed no matter what. In the future, bad things are happening because of the events of the past, and the hero sets out to make them better. Sometimes the hero is trapped in the past and must find a way back, or finds themselves in alternate timelines. The character we will be discussing today is our lovable time traveling rogue, the Doctor. Yay!
Yes.
So excited. We have been waiting for this one for like a couple of months now.
A couple of months.
So excited. All right. So Remy, Paige, Shelby, I would love for you to give me a bit of an overview of how you are connected to the Doctor Who fandom.
I think Remy should go first since he's the newest one of our group.
I'm down
Okay,
for that.
Shelby, get out of my head.
Okay. So for me, I am a massive sci-fi, especially anything with, space and time and things like that kind of person. I started Doctor Who in 2011, back when, Netflix had all kinds of television shows. The first episode I ever watched was the two-part of was it The Empty Child, I think it's called? Yes, with Christopher Eccleston, Are You My Mummy? And instantly was hooked. Ever since then, massive fan. I've gone to Comic-Cons across the country just to get a glimpse of them on the stage. I've got the audiobooks of them, the time travel adventures, all of it.
Love that.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go next. So I got into Doctor Who a year after Remy did. I got into Doctor Who in 2012. I had just had my first kid and I was kind of on maternity leave. And I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So I was like, I want to watch things that other Harry Potter actors are in. And one of my college friends was like, oh, you should check out Doctor Who because the guy who plays Barty Crouch Jr. is in Doctor Who. And I was like, what? And you can't just start with 10 season. You gotta start at the beginning. So I started with 9's reboot. And as I'm in pseudo maternity leave, nursing my newborn, I binged watched all of it. Just 3 weeks, just sat there, did nothing else but just watch Doctor Who. Up until Matt Smith started, till 11 started, because I caught up to where it was. And then I switched over to BBC America and I was like, husband, I need you to watch these because I'm not explaining anything to you while we're watching this show. I need you to get on top of it before we start watching. So that was kind of my introduction into Doctor Who, and I have obsessive tendencies. yay ADD. So I just like became obsessed. I watched it every week. I rewatched episodes. I have several Doctor Who, actually pops. A friend of mine gave me a bunch of the original Doctors on VHS. So I have some of the originals on VHS.
Nice.
I made this quilt behind me that's got silhouettes of all of the Doctors up until 12 that I crochet. I kind of, I don't know if you can see
I
that.
didn't notice that when you
I
first
did not notice.
So
Yeah.
it starts up there with 1, it goes all the way across and then down the sides.
Oh my.
And 9's right here. 10, of course.
The
11,
hair.
11 and
Yeah.
12 are down there. 13 and 14 are going to go up there too, even though technically, 14 is just 10 again. But do I care? David Tennant twice on my quilt? No.
Not at all. Not at
So
all.
yeah, that's kind of how I got into Doctor Who and the obsessive nature of my love for them.
Cool. I actually just honestly fell into it. One of my high school friends had been talking about it continuously forever. I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I'm good. I'm very like a reluctant person when somebody is trying to force me to watch something.
I get that.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not about to watch that just because you said it's cool. Not gonna do it. And then kind of the same thing like Shelby, I was sick. So I'm sitting at home and I'm like, oh, let me just watch Doctor Who. And I started, of course, with the reboot. So with 9, and I watched 9, 10, and 11 in like a week. Yeah, I was it was a shame. It was a lot.
Okay, it's
but
okay.
yeah, I was breathing and sleeping Doctor Who. Like people like, what you doing? Watching Doctor Who. Yeah.
Basically.
Yep, watching it again. And I think when I started watching it, I cannot tell you the year that it was, but I want to say it was 12's first season, and I was watching it on Amazon Prime. So I was able to watch 12, and then of course he took it off of Amazon Prime, so I wasn't able to rewatch it. I was so mad. But now it's on HBO Max.
Yes,
so
it is.
I've rewatched it a lot. But I mean, I love it.
Nice.
Wouldn't be able to, I don't know. Wouldn't be able to live without it, I guess I could say at this point.
I get that too.
Yeah.
As for me, I the doctor grabbed me by the hand and said run, and I've been running ever since. And I can't, I can't remember exactly what year, but I think it was the same situation of like, oh, I'm sick. Somebody told me I should watch this show. Sure. And then it was interesting. I remember, I think I was still living with my parents because my mom walked in and she was like, mm-mm. And then now she watches it too. And so she was like, this is weird. And I'm like, but it's amazing. And because those first couple of seasons or episodes were very interesting.
Yeah.
But I definitely was just like, I think this is this show for me. And then like Shelby said, I noticed a lot of actors that I enjoyed from Harry Potter were in it. And I was hooked ever since. So awesome. We're going to catch our audience up on this character. Now, I had to be very brief because there's a lot of history to Doctor Who. So Shelby already wished me luck. Hopefully this covers what we need to do. Okay. So the Doctor who chose his name is a timeless character. In 1963, the Doctor stole a TARDIS, time and relative dimension and space, and audiences have watched him or her travel from time period to time period, planet to planet, saving lives and becoming a legend. His name means help to some and disaster to others. Though things continue to evolve for our Doctor, he was the last of his race, the Time Lords of Gallifrey. And since 1963, he has regenerated 13 times, with a new regeneration coming this fall. I don't want to give away too much, so I hope that was as brief as I wanted to get. So
No, that was good.
Cool.
Great job.
We have a lot to discuss, so I want to leave most of it to my guest and to me, because I think that would be best. So before we get started, I have one very important question for you all. Who is your doctor?
Here we go. Just right off the bat.
I knew you were gonna ask.
Right off the bat. I already knew Shelby's. We've talked about it.
We know.
I've said it. I said it in our last episode. Me and David Tennant, like I love David Tennant so freaking much.
Yeah.
So now it's like 10/14. Haven't even seen 14 yet, and I'm already like, yes.
He's gonna be a favorite just regardless.
He is because he's an amazing actor. Like
Yeah.
he's my favorite actor in anything. Like he's just really, really talented. But that being said, I think there are merits. Like I love all of them differently for different reasons. All of the reboot. I'm not as familiar with the original series as I would like to be. I, I know some like weird historical facts in terms of Doctor Who, the original Doctors and their relation to Harry Potter, which I will share later if you are interested. But for the most part, it's like I love each of the iterations of the Doctor for different reasons. 10 is my favorite simply because of the time that I was watching him was like my firstborn. I just had this like it's got a lot of positive memories around it. But I love all of them because they're all like great in their own way as long as they have good writers. And
that is key.
Oh, I would have to say I always get stuck between 9 and 11. 9 was my favorite because he's the one that actually introduced me into the whole Doctor Who kind of fandom or world. So I always have like a special place in my heart for him. But when I tell you Matt Smith, he just does it for me. So
and you were giving me crap about David Tennant?
I was.
We about to fight.
I mean acting wise, not like look, kind of both. But I think I liked his seasons a lot. Like I like the whole relationship that they had. Not going too much into it because I'm sure we're gonna get to it later. But like his relationships with his companions, I did like 9, I did like 10, 12, kind of iffy for a while there. But I liked 11. So I'm gonna lock it in and say that 11 is my favorite.
Okay. Remy.
this is the question though, right? Like, I mean, when it comes to Doctor Who, this is probably the biggest question, and for me, it's really hard. I'm gonna have to do a kind of a cop out, and it's got to be a tie, only because like you bring up 9, and 9 he was the introduction, and I'm one of those people who said I wish we got more Eccleston because he was fantastic,
Yeah.
And then you have Tennant, and Tennant was arguably, like, even though it's not really an argument, kind of like the greatest of the new Doctors. I mean, he had such a wide a range of motion when it came, excuse me for a second, when it came to being the Doctor, it was amazing. You had him funny, you had him angry, you had him sad, his frustration, the waters of Mars, when he's screaming out the laws of time will obey me. Like, it's just, it's hard. He was whimsical. But for me, it's a toss-up between 11 and 12 because Matt Smith came in and I didn't think I would love anybody after Tennant. Like, seeing Tennant leave me, I was like, no, I can't do it. In Matt Smith, like when you first see him, he's like, oh, I'm a girl. I was like, oh, I hate this guy. And that's kind of what happened. That was like a lot of my early Doctor Who. It was just like whenever I get a new Doctor, I was like, I hate this guy.
For a show that is based on change,
I know.
Fans hate change.
I know.
We don't like change.
It's because it hurts. Like, if you know me, I have an issue. Like, I have books and TV shows and anime that I haven't finished because I hate endings.
Yeah.
So I will skip and I will not finish books, which is another reason why I identified with Matt Smith when they go to Chicago or they go to New York. And I was like, he does that, but for me, and I'm not trying to talk for too long, but it was hard because Matt Smith also gave me a very wide range of emotions, but he also had this kind of superiority and like talking down to as the doctor that I loved. I've never seen a doctor check people as much as Matt Smith did. He would get in your face, don't try to outsmart me. You are not, like he was very like, I said, stay here, because it showed all the years of the other companions where he's tired of losing people. And then Capaldi, because Capaldi was a lover of Doctor Who, and he gave me the best speeches, the best moments.
I was going to say the best monologues.
And there it is. I love monologues. The Zygon invasion. Whenever I try to get people to watch Doctor Who, I'm sending you the Zygon invasion speech when he's like, "It's not a game, Kate," and I'm like, "Yes." Or when he's talking to the Master and Missy, and he's like, "This one time, please be kind," and I'm just sitting there crying, like, yes. So it's kind of hard because they, but if I had to like jump on a ledge, I would probably say Capaldi, because I just would love to just stand there and watch him speak.
I get that.
I can get that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a tough question. And like you said, every time the doctor came on as a new person, it was just like your heart broke a little because you got so connected. And like for me, obviously, the 10th Doctor was my person for a while. And like you said, David Tennant is just a phenomenal actor. And I think that's kind of just what really drew me to him. And I enjoy, and he was cute. So I enjoyed watching him do his thing. And then when I first got 11, and I was not here for him. I was not, but rewatching it again, and then now seeing Matt Smith continue to grow as an actor, I'm like, he's really powerful in all he does too. Ridiculous. And I think that would be, and I think that's kind of what happened with Capaldi too. Like rewatching his season, I was like, because I think when we got to Capaldi, the doctor had to grow up again, like he has spent all these years kind of like trying to forget his past and continue to move forward and become connected to people. And then Capaldi comes in and he's like, I gotta be the doctor again. I have to grow up. I have to step up again. And I think I enjoyed seeing that. And I know we didn't get much of it, but I loved, and we're going to talk about companions later, but I loved River and Capaldi. I thought, and the 12th Doctor, I thought that was
so good.
I really enjoyed that dynamic. Yeah. Because, and I wanted more of that because River took growing on me too, but I appreciated her interaction with 12 more than any other interaction I saw. And so, okay, but we'll talk about them in a second. I could go on about that for a minute. Yes. So before we go any further into, and I mean, kind of too late if you have been listening, but before we go any further, there are or will be some spoilers ahead. So if you're not caught up on any of the Doctors up until 13 or this like
too late now.
Yeah, it's a little late, but
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm not.
I always need to do this. When I do the next season, it'll be me making a preface way before we get started in anything. I keep forgetting to do it though, so I'm always like, let me slide this in here. There's gonna be spoilers, so if you're not caught up on Doctor Who and are looking to do so, you have been warned. But we love for you to listen. So, over the run of the show, the Doctor has faced his fair share of dangers and enemies, whether they be from the past or from the future or timeless. Who is your favorite villain, or which villain is the scariest to you?
Look, okay. As I'm wearing my villain shirt.
Love that.
I had a nightmare like a week and a half ago that featured the Weeping Angels. And Blink is my favorite episode of Doctor Who, and he's in it for maybe 2 minutes the whole time. And it's just that idea of you don't know what's around you, right? And we have all of these iconic images of statues and everything around just, and especially in England, like the history of the cathedrals and the statues within England and London itself, and just the idea that you have to be looking at this thing, otherwise you could lose your entire existence, like live a whole other life, and they kill you kindly. I think that was that was my like the line that he's like, the doctor's like, yes, they kill you kindly. They're sending you back in time, but you don't get to live the life that you would have lived. You're still living a life, but all of that time that you did have, you would have had, that life that was yours is gone, and they take their life force from what you lost. And I was like, well, I mean, if you're gonna send me back in time, that was kind of a nice way to do it. But yeah, the weeping angels. And I think the reason why too is each time we see them, like the first episode, I don't necessarily like jump scares. And weeping angels are the jumpiest jump scare of all the jump scares for the doctor, right?
For sure.
The first episode, it wasn't like super angry, evil, like claws out fangs, weeping angels that you see in the later iterations. And you start to like, they get their own little character development, and each time you see them, they are like a little bit more angry and scary, and stuff's happening. And I just like that trajectory. Like, the Daleks are the Daleks are the Daleks, right? Cybermen are the Cybermen, no matter what iteration. Or the Silence is a whole nother thing too. Like, but there's something about this, that character development of the Weeping Angel, that I love the Weeping Angels. That's me.
Yeah, I would think the Weeping Angels for me are up there too. I don't like any video games where it's like you turn and they've gotten closer.
And they're like right there.
Me out. It stresses me out. I'm like, oh my god.
Literally, the next day after I had this nightmare about the Weeping Angels popping out behind me, I'm playing a quest in the new Harry Potter video game that had things popping out behind me, a la Weeping Angels. And I lost my mind. I said, husband, Vanilla Gorilla, I need you to do this quest for me, because I can't. They're popping out, and I just had this nightmare. So yeah.
Just
Remy, I'm gonna let you go because I'm thinking.
Okay, so you said it was scariest or greatest then?
Like your favorite villain, or which villain is the scariest to you?
So yeah, the Weeping Angels are like truly, truly terrifying. But for me, I always like for me, I have to think about how my death would be. And like the Cybermen, how they kill you, that's the worst. I mean, that's the worst. And no spoilers, but that companion. And it was like, and I was ready to riot because I was like,
who black companions?
Let's talk about it. Like, I was like, y'all, Moffat, come here right quick. But like, but like, if I were to say greatest, like, because Cybermen, I wouldn't want to get in their clutches for that reason. But if I was to say like greatest villain, it's I always think of Davros because he was him. Davros was him. Yeah. And I saw what you can see of the Doctor Who stuff before the fire and all that, and like some of Baker's seasons and things like that. And even then, Davros was just terrifying. I loved him, and to be able to see how they keep trying to bring his character back, and I'm like, yes, because I love the Master and like their dynamic together. I think that's like the most iconic, but I think for me, like the scariest or like his true villain is Davros, because their relationship is really wild the more and more you find out about it.
So I would have to say, just to piggyback kind of off of what Remy just said, probably before, yes, it would have been the Master, only because of their dynamic. And the Master, Mistress, whatever you want to call them, is, a villain, but he or she is not the worst person that they've ever faced on the show. So the Weeping Angels definitely freaked me out, especially because the first time I watched the episode, it was 2 a.m. and I'm sitting there, I'm like,
same.
I had to turn the show off at that point. I said, okay, that's gonna be it for me.
Done.
I can't. So yeah, Weeping Angels are definitely like number one. Cybermen are number 2. Daleks are like on the bottom of the list because to me, a Dalek is going to be a Dalek, like every way you look at it. But the Weeping Angels, and I think you said that, Shelby, like how they progressed. Because at first, yes, they were still freaky. They still popped out, but they weren't like as bad. When they got to, what is that, I'm not gonna say it right, so I don't want to say it. The Byzantium, or however you say it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I was right there. That whole episode, I was like, dude, everybody's becoming an angel. Oh my god.
Angel Bob.
Like,
yeah.
Angel Bob.
That was dark.
Angel
like,
Bob. That was the worst.
That was worse.
When he said, like, Bob is dead. I was like, wait,
Not Bob.
not Bob. Like, it hurt my feelings.
And Amy's
in her
It was
eye.
in Amy's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. That,
and she was counting down the whole episode and you never realized it.
And that whole idea that what takes the image of an angel becomes an angel.
Yes.
Man, I don't know. Like I take it back. They are the scariest.
I
forgot about how she was like the whole episode. She's like blinking, and I'm like, what is wrong
happening
with her? Like,
yes,
they came through the TV. Like
that part freaked me out too. I said, bro, what is happening? Please stop.
Yeah,
like
I think all of those villains the two that it's like you have to either look at them in order for like the Silence and the Angels for me, because I'm just like, you can't obviously always be looking at this thing, and so it's gonna get you. It feels inevitable, I think is what it is. And so, and as you said, the Angels just kept getting like more vindictive and scary as it came. I think the only one, I mean, it was a good episode, but the only one I couldn't really get behind was the Statue of Liberty as a weeping angel.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was wild. Because
that was wild.
That was very much a British person trying to take on an American, like an iconic American image.
Yeah.
And be like, so what? Yeah, so what? We lost the American Revolutionary War. We're gonna use this.
Here y'all go.
Thing. Like, I was like, Statue of Liberty, really, guys? Okay.
There's never not a point where someone is not looking at the Statue of Liberty.
Like,
for me, I'm like, that doesn't work. Like in a story, if that's the story we're going with, that doesn't work. Because even if somebody does look away, there's no way it would have we hear it walking, so it's moving rather slowly,
right?
And I'm like, there's no way
how large it is.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, so
and there's a whole freaking river between. It's on its own little island.
Yes,
that's part.
That's how you know that Brits don't understand American geography.
Sorry to any British listeners, but it was just odd.
Oh my god, it sure is.
Yeah, they know it. They know it.
Yeah.
They'd admit it too. Like, they don't understand American geography. It's okay. Americans don't understand American geography.
We don't. It's fine. Yeah, no, I think, but yeah, I would say the Silence and the Angels are probably my favorite villains, but also the scariest, because it's like, again, with the Silence, you never know. They could be in the room. Isn't that day coming up? It's like April, where we do the march.
April 13th.
We do the march.
Yeah.
The Day of Silence. Yep. April 13th.
I'm going to do it. And my students are going to be like, Miss Cannon, what's happening? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, what? I need to show them that episode. That might be fun.
Yeah, because otherwise you might freak them out and be like,
I showed when I was still in the classroom, I showed my classes the Don't Blink episode.
I did too.
For suspense. And well, one of the things is I also use call and response to get my kids' attention. And one of mine was, I would say Weeping Angels and they'd say Don't Blink. So I was like, I had to show them the scene so they would understand what they were saying, why they were saying it. And then one day we were all stressed. I said, we're taking a mental health day. We're going to watch this scary show. Here, guys, it's PG. It's nothing bad is actually happening. So don't have your parents email the principal. But we watched that episode, and I teach English language learners. So it was a really like fun way for them to like experience another culture too. So
I love that we both used Dr. call-in responses. Mine was wibbly wobbly, and they would have to say timey wimey.
I have that one too.
And yeah, I did that one, and I think I did do weeping angels, and they were supposed to cover their eyes and stop moving.
Gosh.
And
I like that
my
one.
whole classroom was like Doctor Who themed, and they didn't know obviously who that was. Even for like Christmas, I had a little tree and I put a weeping angel on top. And so I was like, well, we have extra time. Let's watch Don't Blink because one, and that felt like a good episode for them to see because of our call and response. And they were like, can we keep watching? I'm like, some other time we will. But
I had
like,
that too.
yeah. I was like, that's so cool. I love when
Yeah,
kids like the things I like.
That's the only time that someone can accuse me of indoctrinating the youth of America as an educator.
We need
I'm
more
trying to
Whovians, though.
We
get them
need
to
more
No,
watch
for
that
real.
shit.
Like for real.
I'm hoping we'll get more as this, especially, I mean, it became a little bit more modern as we went. So I'm wondering what's going to happen next.
Well, especially since Disney is now helping produce these new episodes, so
Yeah.
they'll have more money. I think it is going to get a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah, because it'll
I'm
be on
not
Disney
complaining.
Plus. Yeah, I know some people were not excited about it coming to Disney Plus, but I think that's a good way to branch out a little bit more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more viewers, the better.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. The Doctor is never alone, or at least shouldn't be left alone for too long. No matter where or when he goes, he is accompanied by a companion, whether that companion stays with him for months, years, or for that episode. So, do you have a favorite or least favorite? Let's start with favorite and then we'll do least favorite.
Ooh.
I feel like we should have been prepared for this question from the last question, but I'm still over here like, who's my favorite? There's so
Right?
many.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
No.
Let's see, Shelby, if you're ready.
I am
Okay.
Okay.
Donna.
Yes.
I love Donna Noble. And I realize that is a controversial statement. Like, not a lot of people like Donna.
Really?
I've had
What?
several of my friends say that they don't like Donna.
Okay.
My husband doesn't like Donna.
Really?
Yeah.
But what is the reason?
I think it's because
What's the reason? Sorry.
you know, that's a great question. Let me try and get into the mindset of my my husband. I think it's because she's a little bit more ditzy than say like and not ditzy as in dumb, but ditzy isn't just like completely unaware of everything. Like especially when you first meet her. I loved her because, man, Catherine Tate is hilarious.
She's funny. I love her on The Office.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love Catherine Tate. There's this she had her own show, I think it was the Catherine Tate show.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the skit that she did for I don't think it was Red Nose Day. It might have been for Comic Relief. And she's playing a student, and David Tennant comes in as the English teacher, and they do this whole back and forth with Shakespeare, and like just the whole skit itself, like those two, David Tennant and Catherine Tate together, was comedic brilliance.
They had really good chemistry.
They had such great chemistry. They later went on to do Much Ado About Nothing, the Shakespeare play, together on the West End, and I have watched it. It's on they've recorded it, and I've watched it a few times. It's one of my favorite productions of Much Ado About Nothing because those two just are together are just so funny. But I think, like, for me, Donna represented the, like, she was older. She was an older woman going on an adventure and living this life that me as an older person was like, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I can do that. I could be, I can be smart and sassy and save the world.
Like, she became the most important person in the universe.
She did. I think I just really love Donna.
I think I feel like for a lot of people, because I find it so because she's coming back for the anniversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I
so
think so,
I
yeah.
find it surprising that people don't like her, but I feel like it could be because I don't know, maybe they got used to the relationships that were formed before. Like every other companion was like a love interest in a way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so she was just the best friend. And I think that's why I adored her because we're going to get into least favorite, but there were moments where I was just like, it doesn't have to be a romance. Like, it
Amen.
doesn't have to be a romance. It could just be two buds traveling the universe, doing crazy things. And I think that's what I enjoyed. And like you said, Shelby, I think I did. I never really thought about it that way. But yeah, Donna would have probably been our age now, traveling with the doctor and getting to see her do these things. And she didn't know what she was doing in life, but when she was with the doctor, that was when she was
She's like built her
yeah
confidence. You saw her
yeah
confidence in herself grow
for
so
sure.
Yeah.
much just through the
So much.
interactions.
Yeah,
Right.
Like she went from just being a temp from Chiswick to
Mm-hmm.
the most important person in the universe, and the Dr. Donna. Like I love her.
she's so great. Remy, you got one?
So, man, like to hear people don't like Donna Noble, almost sorry to say, pisses me off a little bit. I don't know how much
That's
I can go
okay.
here.
And I don't know how
But-
much of that is because people don't like Catherine Tate.
and that's crazy too,
And that
because like
could be.
when WizardCon came here before COVID, her and Karen Gillian were here, and I got to go sit up front, sit in the front row. She came through the audience. She said hi to everybody, high five people. She did this hug line where everyone got to give her a hug, and you get to just talk to her. She's such a real person, and like you had said, and you said like Shelby, one of the main things about her that was amazing is how you said she was like a nobody, and she even said that she was just like, why me? I'm nobody, and he's like, like she couldn't
900
understand.
years, right?
She couldn't understand her worth. And again, the doctor does not need a love interest. And some of his best companions were because of that. Like once Amy got out of the way and was like, I'm here to be family, it got a lot better.
It did.
It got a lot better. And I think that's another reason why I always call her Maffa, because I love how they say Maffa. It's the reason why I feel Maffa Jones didn't get the shine she could have, because they try to push another love interest so fast. So, but like for me though, which is could be kind of a 180 here on who I pick, it's between Donna and River. I would honestly say, just for the fact that River was the longest companion we had in the making. And you saw her in the library, and then to see her, and I love that she was a special companion. She made me think of like ones we used to get where they were just kind of like the Captain Jacks, where it's like, I'm not going to be here all the time, but when I do come, you're going to scream and cheer, And to see how but different from every single person, even his other love interests like Rose, who God, when I've been rewatching the show with Juice, I did not realize how much Rose was not great. But like, I'm sorry, but River gives you another perspective of the doctor that I truly enjoyed seeing, and for me, it's between her and Donna, because two great perspectives, and to be a friend is what he really truly needs in a companion.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So I've been over here thinking. So I do want to continue on with the Donna thing really quick, only because after Don't Blink, my favorite episode is Turn Left. And
that's a good one.
When I tell you that Catherine Tate, that whole episode was amazing to me. And that actually made me like her more than I already did. Because I liked how she dealt with the whole situation and how she knew she wasn't crazy and all of that. I love her like to death. Y'all are gonna talk about me when I say who my favorite is. That's fine. I'm gonna take it because my favorite is actually Martha. But let me can I go? Let me get there.
Yeah.
And it's more not when she was his companion, but when she actually came back during Donna's season because of who she grew to be. Because those first couple of episodes, she was irritating. Like,
girl.
Because she was just so love struck on the doctor
But I mean, it was David Tennant. Can you blame her?
Okay. The David Tennant aside, yes. I guess I could understand, but it was just more of she was just stuck on trying to make him fall in love with her and all of that. Didn't even need it.
Yeah.
The episode, and I can't think of the title, where she has to go back and fix everything. That is probably the episode where I realized like she's actually a really strong character.
Yeah.
And then when she came back as a part of unit, I was like, okay, all right, Martha, I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna give you what you're supposed to have. All right. And then when they all came back at the end, I was like, okay, girl, I like you now. All right. So rewatching the show, I understand where the love struck part came from. I ignore those episodes and focus on the ones where she came back. And like I said, that's how she became my favorite. So don't kill me, y'all. That's why.
That's okay.
No, we love Martha. I feel
Martha
like
was great. I think
she's not my favorite, but she's not my least favorite anymore. I had to rewatch for her not to be at the bottom for me because it made me so irritated. And I know it's not her fault. It's the writing. It's the writing. But like, because she came in expecting the doctor to fall in love with her. And part of me was like, we just lost Rose. Calm the hell down. And so I was like, but you see, she's smart. She was able to keep up with the doctor and hold her own. And out of all of the companions, I think she sacrificed a good amount of, she sacrificed a lot for him, especially as being one of the, and we're going to talk about this later, but one of his African-American companions. A lot of times when they got stuck in the past or when they went to the past, she was the one that suffered because she was Black. And so, she handled that with grace. She could have gone all the way left, but she did what she had to do for the time period that they were in, even when it pissed her off. So I appreciated her for that, but she's still not up there, but she's not down below anymore. So I think my favorite would have to still be Donna, or like you said, Remy, I love me some Jack. He's so fun and just so charming. And when he comes on the screen, I'm just like,
yes.
Oh my God. Yes. I'm like, there he is.
When he came back in 13 season, those couple of episodes, I was like, it's Jack!
So happy.
He makes my heart just so, like, it's just like a dose of serotonin that I wasn't ready for. And then when you get it, you're like, oh, it's Jack. And it makes my heart so happy to see. I dressed up as him for my first ever convention. I didn't have his like signature coat, but I did, the shirt, the overalls, and I made it more feminine, so I had a skirt on. But I was ready and so excited. And I think he's probably, him and Donna are my favorites, along with maybe, I feel like I had one more that I enjoyed. I enjoyed oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now? He's in my notes. Right, Bill Potts. Bill Potts was dope. I thought she didn't really get much, but I liked Bill Potts.
That's good.
Yeah.
Love Bill.
Bill didn't get enough.
Can I say just one last thing about Martha? Can we just talk about how I don't know if I was one of the people, because I remember there was a lot of backlash about this. They thought it was dumb, but am I the one that was happy she got with Mickey?
I loved it.
I thought that was truly good because you didn't like it. I did, because like
Mickey, I liked it.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I liked it. Black love. I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought you said you didn't. I was like,
no, I liked it.
You know what? I liked it more for Mickey than I did for Martha. Because Mickey, I think he got, and we can talk about this too, just like the Black characters getting the shaft in the show.
We're going to.
Exactly.
But for Mickey, I felt like he sacrificed so much for Rose. He got stuck in another dimension for Rose. And like his whole life got turned upside down. I'm not gonna bust out the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, I promise you. But for him to like finally okay, be able to settle down with an intelligent Black woman who understood the crazy that is the life of the Doctor.
Yep.
I don't think he could have ended up with anybody but Martha, because she was the only one who was going to get his desire to battle the unknown and fight these monsters and keep the world safe, because he'd been doing it for so long. He didn't know any other way. But at the same time, like, she would also kind of keep him in check.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, I feel like it was better for Mickey than it was for Martha.
It was still just nice, because especially because nice Mickey had, in my opinion, one of the best character developments out of all the other companions.
Oh, for sure.
He really did.
When he stayed because he could be with his grandma, that whole episode, I never thought I would have shed a tear for Mickey. But when he was like, when he was like, we got to get your stairs fixed and you're gonna fall down them, and I'm like, because he still blamed himself for letting his actual, and he stayed until she passed away, and then he went back. I was like, Mickey, like, you, come on, man, like that. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, because Mickey got on my nerves when we first met him, because he was such a wimp. I Shelby, the way you put it made me have a different perspective on that. I like that idea of them ending up together. I know when I was doing my research on Black characters for a question we're going to do later, I think people were mad because it felt like, oh, here's two black characters, let's just put them together. Yeah. And I can understand that too, but I think if we had gotten to see more of how they met and how that became a thing, I think it might have helped some people. But I thought it was cute when I saw them together, and because the last time we had seen her, she was engaged to somebody else, right? And then
she was engaged to Tom Ellis, whatever his character's name is on the show.
Yeah. And so, which he was some white man, I think, white man.
Yes.
And so it was nice to see her and Mickey, these two characters who we grew with and who kind of, became better people in their own right, get together and, make each other better. So I can understand that.
Yeah.
Do you all have a least favorite companion? The one that makes you, for me, guys, I'm so sorry. It's Clara. After it's Clara, she became such a Mary Sue that I was so irritated. Like, I watched the whole thing over again, but watching her episodes just make me so angry. From 11 to 12, I was just like, can you bye? Thank you. She's gone. Thank you. Man.
I think I don't like her as much either. I don't think she's my least favorite. My least favorite is whatever James Corden's character's name was.
From the
he? Well, yeah, he was.
Okay.
Because he was in like 3 episodes.
He was in like 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though those 2 episodes have some of my favorite one-liners from the episode, like from those seasons, like, yeah, I speak baby. Like, I love the one-liners from that episode. I do not like his character. And I did call my children Stormageddon for a very long time, longer than I care to admit, especially baby Ty. He was Stormageddon. And Dad, you're not mom, and mom. Like, James Corden's character, like, the more I see of him just in general acting, I don't like him as an actor.
Yeah.
And everything I'm hearing about the kind of person he is tying into that. So, like, he's my least favorite companion.
Okay.
Huh. I didn't even think about side,
like companion. The one-off, the one-off characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a least favorite one-off.
Me neither.
Least favorite one-off, I don't remember his name, would be they took him to Satellite 5 and he got
the
yeah. He was annoying. I didn't care for him. But least favorite, it's also gotta be Clara. Rose kind of ties a little bit because Rose was just
mine is Rose, but I was gonna get there.
She was annoying. Like, when I rewatched it, because I used to defend Rose until I rewatched the series, and I was like, you just kind of flirted a lot and just was really ditzy and didn't understand the danger of the situations you were in, and that really bugged me. I liked Clara when she first came in because her Christmas episode is like my favorite Christmas episode.
It's a good one.
That I can think of off the top of my head. And it was fun to have like that kind of witty companion again, someone who can match the Doctor a little bit. But, and I say this all the time, and I don't know if we're going to get into this later, but she ruined Capaldi's first season. I'm sorry. She did. I hated it because it's like they wanted to give her this giant send off, and I can understand that. I understand what she meant to the show, all that. But the first season of a Doctor is us to get to know them. I had spoke a little bit about this earlier when I said how I was so mad at Matt Smith, and when he took over for Tennant, but because in my mind there has to be that's the Doctor moment. And you always get that in the first season. For me, it's when Matt Smith had said, when he said, there's one thing that you don't put in a cage if you value your existence. It's that.
That was a good line.
When I said, that's the Doctor, and I didn't get a moment with that with Capaldi till way later, and it was during the 2D episode when he was I don't even remember that episode that much. I just remember the end when he named them and he banished them, and I was like, it's like 12 episodes into his season, and because all we focused on was Clara, and after that I didn't like her.
Not only did we just focus on Clara, we focused on Clara's obsession with the fact that the Doctor had changed.
Yeah, and the fact that he was old and he wasn't attractive to her anymore.
Right, he wasn't this guy. Like I could see like with Matt Smith and Clara, it was not necessarily a will they won't they love kind of relationship kind of deal like it had been with Nine and Rose, right? Because Nine and Rose, it was very much do they like each other or whatever, and then you build it into that relationship with 10. With Clara and 12, like Clara was so obsessed those first few episodes with the fact that he didn't look the same. Girl, you sat here and saw him change.
You saw him change.
Person.
Yeah.
You met how many versions of himself on the Leaf? Like
yes. Like, how are you so obsessed with the fact that Mr. No Eyebrows now has eyebrows? Like, why are you doing this?
That made me really mad.
I was so
eyebrows.
Look, Matt Smith does not have any eyebrows.
Eyebrows.
I'm sorry, that's funny. Like,
that I don't know. They were there his first season, and then they were gone. But anyway, like. I just felt like it became this obsession for her to find some connection to who he was and not respecting the fact that he is this person now. She was being lasagna.
Yeah. I could see that. And at first I thought they were like,
hey, stop laughing at me.
That's
one of my favorite lines.
Lasagna. I'm sorry.
Don't be lasagna.
Don't be lasagna. I think I don't know. It was odd, and I felt like they were trying to. I don't know. Maybe this is a cop out, but maybe they were trying to help the audience get past their obsession with being attracted to the Doctor by showing it through her. Not that I'm excusing her because I still can't stand her, but I think that was a big part of why Capaldi also was, brought in. It was like, we have this Doctor, we've made him really young. All of these people are obsessed with him for this reason or another, but that's not what the Doctor or being the Doctor is about. It's not about being a heartthrob. It's not about being the boyfriend. And because I think at one point Capaldi does tell her, like, I'm not your boyfriend. And she, and he never was supposed to be. Like, I think that was a big thing too. But I still can't stand her. So I just can't.
So I kind of already said it. Rose is my least favorite character. I swear to God. When I first watched it, she was young. And I was trying to excuse a lot of the stuff that she said and did because she was supposed to be young. She was supposed to be like, 19?
Yeah, she was
when
young.
The show started?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oldest 19-year-old I've ever seen, but not my business. But
you need to come see some of the kids in my high school because she looks just like some of the kids at the high school I work at. Like, but continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
But that is hilarious. I'm sorry. But the first time I think I watched it, I was really much into the, oh my God, I love the Rose and the Doctor. I hope that they can figure out some way to make them, be together. I don't know what was wrong with me. I rewatched it and I was like, oh my gosh, she's irritated. She's irritating my soul. The first episode I think that I realized that I did not like Rose was the episode where they brought her father back to life, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And he was literally like, don't do anything, don't mess anything up. And then bam, her dumb tail decides that she's gonna make this decision and bring her father back to life. Ma'am, now you got these prehistoric birds or whatever they were flying around and killing folks. Like,
They did.
to me, Rose always tried to make things better for herself. There were times where she did try to make no, I'm sorry.
For who? No, man.
No,
I think
just for her.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Rose, because like how every companion kind of had like a superpower in a way.
Mhm.
I always
Mhm.
felt like for Rose, it was her kindness and her empathy. And I think that's where I let
I
her,
can see that.
yeah, I kind of let her
Yeah.
slide in that like she was the companion who was always very kind, very empathetic. And
Yeah.
that was, it. But eventually, as it went on, she became a little bit more reckless, and I think that's when I was kind of like, but you're
Like,
not the end all be all in any of these situations. Like you're putting yourself and other people at risk for,
right.
yeah, just to do it at that point. So I could see that. I understand why she could be your least favorite for
Mhm.
sure.
And she's just irritating. And then Clara, whatever we're calling her. I did like her at first. And then that changed too. Because it was just like the same thing. Like, yeah, Mary Sue, I think you said.
Yeah. And
Yes.
for audience members who don't know what a Mary Sue is, it's basically like this kind of infallible, like, character, usually a girl, and they're the cute, can do everything. Oh, if you want a good example, you can look up, oh my God, I think it's called My Immortal. It's a Harry Potter fan fiction, and the main character. That's so funny. It's a wreck. But if you ever want to look up what America, it's basically everything's perfect. Everybody loves her. She
Mhm.
can do no wrong, and it's really frustrating to see Mary Sue's. So
Is
that's
that still available though?
oh, you can look it up.
Still look it up.
You can still,
I'm
I'm
sure
fairly
it
certain you
is.
can look it up
I'm
still.
sure it
Oh
is.
my
The
God,
fan
Remy,
fiction, the fan fiction is not going anywhere.
that
no.
was the worst fan fiction I have ever read in my life.
It gives you so much joy. It's hard to get through, but it's so funny. Remy, have
If
you
you've
ever read
not
My Immortal?
Yes, yeah,
like if you've
yeah.
not gotten into fan fiction before, that probably isn't the one you want to start with
It is not.
It's
because
not.
it will ruin it for you for
It's
everything else.
literally the
Like
worst thing ever.
One
But
of my
Oh my
former
God.
roommates was like super into fanfic and making his own fanfic, and it was always either Harry Potter or it was Batman or like because like he would and then he got like this Godzilla obsession, and so like he went and saw Divergent and made like a and he got obsessed with Divergent. So he's like, so what would happen if Triss got with Godzilla? They'd be unstoppable. And I was like, how? Like and then it's so like
how does that even work?
we were in the process of writing our own comic, and so like whenever we would sit down and he would be like any idea that he wouldn't like I wouldn't let him put in there, I would know on Sunday when he'd upload it would be on there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like
Oh my God.
when that one came out, that's when we were heavy into like anything kind of like Harry Potter or X-Men and stuff, and I read that and was like, I think I'm done now. I was like, I think I'm done now. I don't like this, you know. It
Yeah.
was,
Triss and Godzilla. Like
I love that.
yes.
look, I read some really weird things.
We know.
That sounds like I've read some dinosaur romance novels. If you have never read a dinosaur romance novel, let me tell you.
Lord have
Mhm.
mercy. And I mean, like, I'm not gonna front, like, my high school fan fictions are pretty rough. Like, when I go back and read them, I'm like, whoo, Lord have mercy. But, we all learn and we grow. And there's just something about my immortal that still tickles me to this day.
I burned all of mine, so no one will ever read them. They look like.
Oh my goodness. So we always do this too. We go on tangents, but that's totally fine. Before we continue with the rest of the show, we're going to take a quick break. So this is your bookmark. Come back to us in just a few moments. Hey Sunshines, normally this would be where your bookmark is. However, as you can tell, me and my guest really love Doctor Who, and we had so much to say about it. So this is going to be part 1 of 2. Part 2 will air next Sunday, June 4th. So please make sure you tune in to find out what else we have to say about this fantastic show. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.